I will perform it, that I will keep thy righteous judgments. I am afflicted very much. Quicken me, O Yahweh, according to thy word. Except I beseech thee the free will offerings of my mouth. O Yahweh, teach me thy judgments. My soul is continually in my hand, yet do I not forget thy law. The wicked have laid a snare for me, yet I erred not from thy precepts. Thy testimony have I taken as an heritage forever, for they are a rejoicing of my heart. I have inclined mine ears to perform thy statutes always, even until the end. I hate vain thoughts, but thy law do I love. Thou art my hiding place and my shield. I hope in thy words. Depart from me, ye evildoers, for I will keep the commandments of my God. Uphold me according to thy word, that I may live, and let me not be ashamed of my hope. Hold thou me up, and I shall be safe, and I will have respect unto thy statutes continually. Thou hast trodden down all of them that err from thy statutes, for their deceit is falsehood. Thou puttest away all the wicked of the earth, and thy statutes, for their deceit is falsehood. Again, thou puttest away all the wicked of the earth like dross. Therefore I love thy testimonies. My flesh trembleth for fear of thee. I am afraid of thy judgments. I have done judgment and justice. Leave me not to my oppressors. Be surety for thy servant for good. Let not the proud oppress me. Mine eyes fell for thy salvation, and for the word of thy righteousness. Deal with thy servant according to thy mercy, and teach me thy statutes. I am thy servant. Give me understanding that I might know thy testimonies. It is time for thee, O Yahuwah, to work, for they have made void thy law. Psalms chapter 119, verses 106 through 126. Deliver me from the hands of evil spirits who have swayed the thoughts of men's hearts, and let them not lead me astray from thee, my God. Establish thou me and my seed, that we go not astray henceforth and forever. Jubilees chapter 12 and verse 20. Yes, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Yes, you're walking with Mr. Clay. I'm Mr. Clay. Yes, and also we thank God for those of you who have been with us since the beginning, and we thank the Most High for those of you who have just been here and there's about, and we thank the Most High for those of you who have just subscribed, even those of you who are just viewing for the first time. We thank God for you, and we are calling those things that are not as though they are. Yes. All praises to the Most High. We give him glory and the praise for all that he has done. Yes, we're still in the book of 1 Chronicles. 1 Chronicles chapter 23 as you prepare. And we're just leaving the Chronicles of King David. Now, out of all the sons King David had, God chose Solomon to be his successor. Just like he chose from Abraham to Isaac, then Isaac to Jacob. He bypassed Esau because Esau failed his test. Therefore, God could not trust Esau. And Esau had proven not trustworthy, even in the book of Jubilees and the book of Jasher. Yes, we see that if those of you have read those books, you will see that Esau was not to be trusted, period. Because he's always had an ulterior motive, even for the good that he did. Now, in the book of 1 Chronicles, we see that David, in the previous chapter, we see that King David had really gathered the things that, even though he was forbidden to build the temple, he wasn't forbidden to, he went to war, he earned the respect and the admiration of his enemies that surrounded him, and they gave gifts. This would prompt the psalmist that says that when a man's ways please God, even his enemies will be at peace with him. So God gave peace to David. King David, because his ways pleased the Most High. He did that which pleased the Most High. After all the things that he did, the Most High still saw David's heart, and that he was a man that was looking after God's own heart. This might be sort of an ambiguous way they translated it, but he was a man that, in other words, he was forgiven for a whole lot, so therefore he did love God even more, the more. But yet his heart deceived him in many ways. Even in this last thing where he numbered Israel, Satan tempted him. He called. See, one thing, the Satans will play a chess game with you. Not Satan. There is no one Satan. Again, no one Satan. There are many Satan. He's nowhere equal with God. His group is nowhere. They will try to make you think that they are. But the fact is that a Satan came and stood up against David and made him think, just as that, it doesn't say it, but there was a Satan that stood with his heart. When he saw Bathsheba sitting up there washing herself from her woman time, her cycle, or whatever you want to call it. Like all the wives and beautiful wives and shapely wives that he had to have that one. Now all these things pass unto his son Solomon, as we shall see. And he started out to the point where this kingdom we call as a whole Israel will be rent in two and carried away, and the word of the Most High from Deuteronomy chapter 28 eventually shall be accomplished. It was accomplished even throughout all the history, even before the kings of Israel. They rebelled against God and they wanted a king, so God gave them Saul. Saul was not a man that would immorally do things, but he did things after that was against God, God's commandments. Some things the Levites, and David did things that God did not command. Even to the point of numbering Israel when it was forbidden. All of Israel. Now, in chapter 23, verse 1, he says, "So when David was old and full of days, he made Solomon his son king over Israel. And he gathered together all the princes of Israel, the priests and the Levites." Now the Levites were numbered from the age of 30 and upward, and their numbers by their polls, man by man, was 30 and 8,000. That's 38,000. Of which 20 and 4,000 were set for the work of the house of the Most High. These are the Levites. They were set for the house of the Most High because their hands were sanctified. This whole tribe was sanctified by the Most High. In other words, set apart, that they should be for the service of the Most High. Yes. And 6,000 were officers and judges. In other words, they were also judging the people. This is why the Levites, in part, were scattered throughout Israel. In their main cities, they would have these, what they called in the Dark Ages were synagogues. But these were really places where they needed the Levite to call on the name of the Most High, or a Levite to judge in matters concerning the law. Yes. Now, moreover, verse 5, moreover, 4,000 were porters, doorkeepers at the temple, that's what that means, and 4,000 praise the I Am with instruments which I made, said David, to praise therewith. David made instruments to praise God. So you condemn the guitar, you condemn the music before the Most High. You're a liar. You get in there, you dance to that music, you praise God, you glorify His name. I ain't saying entertain yourself with dance, you dance. Watching some beautiful, shapely young lady dance in front of you. Oh, with a nice of ease, and here you are imagining how you could lay with him or her. You better go sit down somewhere. Sit your black behind down, like they say. Turn your back to what is happening because you are in the wrong spirit of things. In the word mindset. Now, it says, of which 20 and 4,000 was set for the work of the house of the I Am. 24,000 people. and 6,000 were officers and judges. Verse 5, moreover, 4,000 were porters, and 4,000 praised the, oh, just like in heaven, just like around the realm of God. We're not, heaven is the sky. God used the sky they used the word heaven to try to depict in English. See, this was written in another language, okay? Let's call a buck. And these translators are trying to get you to understand, but yet it depends on the heart of what is said here. But they were in another realm, if we would put it that way, which was depicted in that something ascended into the sky, but it really ascended and got into another realm. Well, God put it somewhere else, like the body of Moses. Now, he says now, and Elijah. The body of Elijah is not in heaven. Flesh and blood cannot inherit the kingdom of the Most High. That's period. I mean, that's a true saying. So where can your Esau's be? Nowhere. This body is on earth somewhere. It can't go into heaven. It's been touched by men and women. It's been everything else. If this is what you believe in, this fictitious Esau's. I mean, if it were true, no, but it's not. Now, he says now, and David divided them into courses, verse 6, among the Levi, namely Gershon, Kohath, and Merari. Now, this is a high time getting ready to come. Of the Gershonites were Ladan, Shimei, and the sons of Ladan, and the chief was Jehiel, and Zetham, Joel 3. The sons of Shimei were Shelemith, and Hazael, and Haran. They were 3. These were the chief of the fathers of Ladan. And the sons of Shimei were Jahath, Zena, and Jeush, and Beriah. These 4 were the sons of Shimei. And the sons of Shimei were Jahath, Zena, and Jeush, and Beriah. These 4 were the sons of Shimei. And Jahath was the chief of Zizah, the second, but Jeush and Beriah had not many sons, therefore they were in one reckoning according to their father's house. The sons of Kohath, Amram, Ishar, Hebron, and Uzziel, 4. The sons of Amram, Aaron. He's going back into the genealogy of the Levites. But we're still in the Chronicles of King Solomon. The sons of Amram were Aaron, Moses. This is the Levitical priesthood here. Those who would attend unto the things of the Most High, to his worship, the sacrifices of praise, the sacrifices of animals, which were really, to give an animal was to give something very great to the Most High. Because when the Most High made skins for the first man and first woman, an animal had to be slain. You don't get this. I don't expect you to. You don't get this. And his blood spilled upon the ground. Whether he had an angel did it or he did it himself, it was by his command that this animal should be sacrificed. Not a man! It was an animal. He says, and Aaron was separated, and that he should sanctify the most holy things. In other words, he was the closest to the Most High, and his sons forever. As long as there's a temple or a temple to be built, the sons of Aaron will attend unto the Most High in the most holy place, is what he's saying. To burn incense before the Most High, before the I Am, to minister unto him and to bless his name forever. Yes, just like you have the seraphims and those angels that behold his face throughout eternity, no second turn. Everywhere God turned, they turned. He saw the wheel in the middle of the wheel. Now these creatures, they never turned. They always cried out holy, praising the name of he who is living forever, who was yesterday, today, and forever. There's no Isis, no yesterday, today. He's not God. No, that's a lie. God doesn't beget. God created. And how magnificent is his creation. For this reason, man, thou shalt not murder. Who are you? Now, he says, the sons of Aaron and Moses, Aaron was separated, that he should sanctify the most holy things. In other words, God set him aside, that he should sanctify or set aside the most holy things. Yes. And in other words, Aaron was sanctified, that he should sanctify the most holy things. It's the same word right here. Sanctified, sanctified. Separated, sanctified. Sanctified, separated. Yes, same thing. He and his sons forever, to burn incense before the I Am, to minister unto him, and to bless his name. No one can make that incense, the holy incense, but the sons of Aaron. Else it's an abomination. Now concerning Moses, the man of God, in other words, the man appointed by God, his sons were named of the tribe of Levi. Of the sons of Moses were Gershom, Eleazar. The sons of Gershom was Shebuel, was the chief, and the sons of Eleazar were Rehabiah, the chief, and Eleazar had none other sons, but the sons of Rehabiah were very many. Of the sons of Issachar, Shelomith, the chief, and the sons of Hebron, Jeriah the first, Amariah the second, Jahaziel the third, and Jekameam the fourth. And of the sons of Uzziel, Micah, and the first was Josiah, and the second. Now the sons of Merari were Mahali and Mushi, and the sons of Mahali was Eleazar and Kish. And Eleazar died and had no sons but daughters, and their brethren, the sons of Kish, took them. In other words, they were swallowed up into their brothers. Their sons had sons unto their uncle. Yes, had sons unto their uncles. Now, this is how the thing was done in Israel. Yes. And therefore their tribe or their people continued. Now the sons of Mushi and Mahali was Eldah and Jeremoth, 3. These were the sons of Levi after the house of their fathers, even the chief of the fathers, as they were counted by number of names by their polls, that did the work of the service of the house of the I Am from the age of 20 years old and upward. We're still in the Chronicles of Solomon. For David said, the I Am, the God of Israel, hath given rest unto his people. David had to fight. If you really King David had to fight. He had to fight and fight. This was a great warrior. Now his father Jacob was even greater than that. Jacob was a fighter. He didn't take no crap off people. And if you were greater than him, then he had to be very cunning in how to deal with his enemy. And God gave him that wisdom. Then God had to stand up for him in many ways, but he had to fight just as his father, Jacob, and all his brothers, 12. They had to fight. To understand the fight that they had to fight, you have to read the book of Jasher. You have to read them. They were fighters. They wasn't like no Jesus, tiptoeing to the tulips, turn the other cheek. No. What kind of person are you? Are you crazy? You better protect what's yours, and you better ask God to deliver your enemies to your hands daily. However that means. Whether it's legal, whether it's medically, or maybe it might be just plain old physical. Yes. But either way, God will do these things if you will walk out His commandments, statutes, and ordinances. Else we fall under Deuteronomy chapter 28. 28, I'm sorry. But either way. And he said, for David said, the I Am, God of Israel, have given rest unto his people, that they may dwell in Jerusalem forever. Yes, he had to fight. And so also the Levites, they all shall no more carry the tabernacle. This is the permanent place, which is in Jebus. I've showed you pictures. If you look at behind me, there's pictures of Jebus. Yes. Now any of the vessels of it for the service thereof. For by the last words of David, the Levites were numbered from 20 years old and above. That was for war, but he wasn't to number the children of Levi. And because their office was also to wait on the sons of Aaron for the service of the house of the I Am in the courts and in the chambers in which, and in the purifying of all holy things and the work of the service of the house of God. In other words, they was giving this service, they was giving the order. There's an order to everything. And the order of Israel was the law, commandments, statutes, and ordinance of the Most High. The church did not replace Israel. It's a lie. The church did not replace the children of Jacob. It's a lie. Like I said before, if I could take the New Testament and just tear it out. Just throw it away, burn it, whatever, because it's no good. It's no good at all. According to these narratives, no. It's a whole contradiction to it all. It even blasphemes God. You heard of them that says in old times, thou shalt not. God said that in old times. Who in the world is you? They say that Jesus said this. Who is he to tell somebody that, because God said it all, but I say unto you. Man, that should just boil your blood. But we were so deceived at one time. And to stand every morning to thank and praise the I Am likewise at even. This, in other words, there were watches of the day in which, when they say the watch of the day was at the times that the porters would change guarding the doors of the temple. The watch of the day was when they would stand and make sure the incense burned 24/7 and the lights never went out in the temple. These were the watches that they would have to ensure these things would never happen. And to offer burnt offerings, verse 31, to offer burnt offerings, sacrifices unto the I Am in the Sabbaths. Yes, you have Sabbaths. You had the seventh day and you had other Sabbaths that a man should rest. And the new moons. See, look at here. I don't get it. Why do you keep the Sabbath on a Saturday only? You're an abomination to the Most High. God does not go by man's program. Neither should the children of Jacob, or those who have joined themselves unto Jacob in worship of the Most High. We're not talking to you that don't believe, that say there is not a God. You can go and be somewhere else, whatever. Just go and play soccer or something. But either way, for those of you that call yourself by the name of the Most High, the new moon is always a new month. We just passed a new year. The last new moon was the new year. The month. This is the first Sabbath that's coming up in the year of Abib. Yes, it is. You didn't know that, did you? Some of you. You say, well, that's following the lunar Sabbath. Who gives you anything? Does it not nature tell you when spring is coming? When the new year started, didn't you see the buds on the trees? And did you see many things started really budding out, the birds chirping, and life is just coming over? That's the new moon. That's the new year. That's the month of Abib. Now the Passover shall come in this seventh day, which I understand to be, would be that seventh day of the evening of the Gregorian calendar to the first day that evening of the Gregorian calendar. You figure that out. That is the Passover. The day after is the Passover. Now, let's continue. And to offer burnt sacrifices unto the I Am in the Sabbath, in the new moons, and on the set feasts. Everything works by the moon. Everything works by nature that God has prepared for his people. Nature. Yes, nature itself. The moon knows it's showing, and the sun knows it's showing and it knows its cycle. Wherever you are in the world, that is that time. Yes, it is. Now, since we're in captivity, prisoners of war, whatever you want to call it, we cannot keep these times. The whole world was told about God, but they know about one God. Although some would deny, they know about the one God, the one creator, the eternal mind, the one who you cannot kill him. He cannot die. He had no beginning, neither ending. Reason we say he, because most of it is his laws, statutes, and ordinances. It's responsibility that he has unto his creation, that he made himself unto his creation, not only of the angels and those that stand before him daily, or even those of us who were created as flesh and blood. He understands his responsibility and provision. That way he gives us the earth to nurture us. Yes, this is why we call him male. Now he nurtures. He's given the earth to nurture. Now in every creature men can nurture just as well as women can. Don't get it backward. Women just giving more of the nurturing than men, and men are giving more of what we call responsibility and provision than the woman. The man always gives, the woman receives in nature. The female always receives in nature. Now, I'm not talking about those that are oddly, like a butterfly or a fish or something that, has it all within itself. I'm talking about majority of nature. The man gives, the woman receives. And she gives back. When you figure that out, you will have a successful marriage, you will have a successful relationship, and you will have a successful interaction with the Most High. Yes, you will. Instead of being rebellious. Just because you're pretty or just because you're so handsome, you're not God gives to the world. No, you're not. You're just being used by somebody and they're telling you all this, and next thing you know, when you get old and all dried up, you have nothing. And still trying to show your disdain for what has happened to you because of your own foolishness. Let us continue. He says now in verse 28, because their office was to wait on the sons of Aaron. These were the Levites that were numbered from 20 years old and above. They were servants to the servants. Because their office was to wait on the sons of Aaron for the service of the house of the Most High in the courts and in the chambers and in the purifying of all holy things and the work of the service of the house of God. He ain't talking about these old priests you see wearing these old stupid clothing and claws and with a big castle and all this. That's something they've been succeeded. Now their time is about up. God is about to destroy them folks. Regardless of how they still insist on who they are, God is about to destroy them. It's just wait. It's just a matter of little time. I put it that way. Both for the showbread and for the fine flour, for meat offerings, and for the unleavened cakes, and for that which is baked in the pan, and for that which is fried, for all manner of. In other words, these baked, even the women were there to help in these things. Not only the men, but the women also. And said, and to stand in verse 30, and to stand every morning to thank and praise the Most High. So we should stand every morning. In other words, take the example of the Levites and how to serve the Most High. We don't need a bunch of churches. We need a bunch of people that has a relationship with God and that want to know how to do these things. We need a place where people can come, where they can worship, where the word can be read every Sabbath. Not on the Gregorian calendar, not on the Ashkenazi calendar, but on the calendar of nature. Is where God moves, because he created all things. No, it's a no-brainer, really, to tell you the truth. And to offer burnt offerings or burnt sacrifices unto I am in the Sabbaths and in the new moons and on the set feast by number. See, he still comes by the Sabbath in the new moons. So in the new moons is the Sabbath. 7 days after the new moon is the new Sabbath. In the new moon, that's the new month. Yes. It's a no-brainer, period. And on set feasts by number. So you get all these big organized Hebrew Israelite organizations that, everybody's on one accord and they done already, you done just like the Christians. You're no better than them, so you're rejected of the Most High. You might as well go on about your business because you will not delve anymore. You have gotten to the point where you're so proud in your own way. Yes, you're proud. You cannot even delve or even imagine that your Sabbath, your new year is based on nature. The nature of the moon, the nature of the sun. This is the clock by which God has given men. But the heathen have come up with something. These is the work of Satan's. These are the works of Satan. Or the Satans. We'll put it that way. Now, he says they're going to offer new sacrifices in the Sabbath, in the new moon, on the set feasts by number, according to the order commanded to them continually before the eye of. These things are also kept in heaven. What you see on earth is also kept in heaven. He just give you your version of what is already done in his realm. We're not talking about Sky Daddy for some of you who mockingly talk about God. No. When they say heaven, they mean realm. Regardless of how he named it, it means in God's realm. You cannot touch it. You will not see it unless you die. And then it depends on how you die. And they should keep the charge of the tabernacle of the congregation and the charge of the holy place. Yes, the sons of Levi. He has to cleanse them. He hasn't cleansed them yet. That's why we can't do a lot of things that's contained in the law, because the sons of Levi are filthy. They don't even know who they are, really. Many of them don't. You have these African tribes that say they're Levi, but they can't prove that stuff. They say it, but that's it. They can't even go back in genealogy. It's just been such a mix-up. Then you're talking about colonizers coming, either having sex with the women, raping the women, or either marrying the women. Because one thing about it, the male, this is why the male is so important. Regardless, Levite, you're not a true Levite unless you were born of a Levite mother and a father, or a father and a mother. You're not a true Israelite unless you were born, unless your father was Israelite. Doesn't matter about the woman, but if your father was Israelite, yes, you are an Israelite. Yeah, that's the way it goes. See, they going and just because you got black skin or whatever, doesn't mean a daggone thing. Because if your father's a Caucasian, you just are a Caucasian that look black, that was born of or look brown, dark brown, however you want to put it. You were born by that mother. Chinese man. This is why the nations, they do not allow the darker or the black man to or shun the black man having relations with their females. But they will come and you will allow them to have relations with your females at a whim. This is why it was so important that the father was over the house, that he should direct the female in which to go. Because they want to deposit their seed in the female, then it becomes their child, but it looks like you, and they can manipulate that child to colonize you. And this is the way they did it. Not only through religion, but through insemination of the female. And you were so, you look like Jesus, I think I'll just, yeah, you can have my daughter. Didn't even pay a black price, many of them, because of your foolishness, man. And if we keep those things that are contained in the law, we will have peace.
Walk with me.